Hi everyone, welcome to GameQraft. I'm Mike, the Papercraft artisan designer, and today we're doing a follow-up video to a previous video on the GameQraft channel where I showed how to take a Half-Life 2 model file and port it into the Papercraft system. That way that you can develop it and print it and make your Papercraft. So in that video, I previously showed what software that you would use and what steps you would take to convert those files. After I've developed that template in the Papercraft system, which is Papercraft Designer, I printed it out and I started assembling it. I put a bunch of videos together of me assembling the Papercraft, and I have a timer there, and I did a time-lapse video. That way I can show how long I'm actually putting into the assembly process of the Papercraft. So in this video, I'm making the torso, and I went from piece by piece after it's cut out to fold it, glue it together, and I'm constantly looking back at my program here to see where these pieces are going. Making the torso was pretty difficult. There are a lot of faces in this particular model, and just to look here, it has 4,966 faces. That's a lot. I believe it was a total of 6 days that I recorded here. And you can see in the video that it was definitely taking a toll. At the end of the video, I'll be like, oh man, I spent too much time on it. But we'll go ahead and run the clip here. This is going to be me assembling the Antlion with an on-screen timer.
Alright, so we have the Antlion in Papercraft system. I've already printed out this template, and I've actually been working on it a lot. So I'll show you my progress here. This is where I'm at so far. The first couple pages in this bag right here. As I need the pieces, I'm going to pick through them and pick them out individually. If I want it to turn out good, I need to take my time. So that's really what I plan to do here. Got my glue ready. I use this guy a lot. It's a precision scissor. By the way, before I start, let me just gotta hit this timer here so I can see how much time I'm actually spending.
A few things to mention about this Papercraft model. For the paper, I'm using cardstock, which is a thick piece of paper, same thing that business cards are made out of. After printing out the paper, I laminate it and then put it through a cutting process with an automated cutting machine. I've made a previous video about that cutting machine, but I'm also going to be doing a follow-up video about that cutting machine and using it with this specific Antlion Guard model.
As you can see, we've already hit an hour. And go ahead and call it quits. Alright people, so got some sleep, we're at it the next day. Here's where we left off. Looks like it turned out pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and start the timer here again.
So the type of glue that I'm using is Crazy Glue with a K. It's the maximum bond kind. I really like this type of glue because of how fast it dries. It practically dries instantly. And when it does dry, it's basically epoxy. Really, you can use any type of glue that you want. I find the super glue with the precision tips being the best. I also use these wooden skewers, the same type of things that you would use for barbecues. That way I don't get glue all over my fingers. Of course, I do get glue on my fingers eventually, but the wooden skewer definitely does help with the drying. For each piece of the Papercraft model, I always fold them before I start gluing them together. If you fold them after you start gluing, it just makes it a lot more difficult. Folding it will allow it to be molded into the three-dimensional shape that it's meant to be in. The Papercraft Designer will take care of all that for you, and when using it with the automated cutting machine that I was referring to earlier, it will automatically score the paper for you. So the indentions for where the folds go will already be there.
Alright, so this is where we're at so far. We will stop it right there. Alright. Alright, so this is the 4th time working on it. We're at 4 hours and 10 minutes right now. And we're just going to continue. So we're going to go from here. We're going to go ahead and start this timer.
I'm actually stuffing the Papercraft model with a polyfill craft stuffing. It's the same thing that you use for plush stuffed animals, or the same thing that you'd find inside your pillows. So the reason I'm doing that is so the Papercraft model doesn't collapse in on itself and so that it's not hollow.
Alright, so is this a good stopping place? I think it is. I can come back to this a little bit later. And we're at 5 hours. 5 hours, 14 minutes. And yeah, so I got a couple more pieces here. We're doing pretty good. We're going to stop there. Alright. Alright, I'm back for another round, y'all. Back for another round. Alright, we'll go ahead and start this timer again. We're getting pretty far. I just gotta finish the bottom part of this and do the limbs.
There are several small pieces in this model. I had to break it down into a lot of small pieces, especially with a model that has a high polygon count. You have to do really small sections at a time to make sure that the integrity of the three-dimensional model is still there.
Yeah. Alright, people. I'm back. Forget how many days this is now. But we are getting there. Alright, let me get right into it.
Using the Papercraft Designer software, I actually have to break down this model into the sections piece by piece. And it is not easy. There is kind of a pattern to how I do it. Sure, other people can break down the model in different ways and maybe even smaller pieces, but I try to keep the pieces as symmetrical as possible from side to side, and I try to lump them together so they all group together easily. So it's finally taking form. Once I've completed the bottom section of the torso.
Where's the camera? Here it is. Right here.
The holes that are left over are for the arms and legs, which I'll get to at a later point. But they also create a space that I can stuff it with. So leaving some open spaces at this stage of development is definitely a must. And about this point is when my patience ran out and I stopped doing the time-lapse videos. I was able to go ahead and complete that whole torso section, so that was good. Really the only things that I had to do later was the limbs. I had to do the arms, the legs, the fins on the back, as you can see here, these things. And also he has these little pinchers down here. So we also did those pinchers a little bit later. So keep up with the channel. We are going to be making a follow-up video using the Silhouette Cameo 4, which is that automated cutting machine that I was referring to, on cutting out the last 4 pages. So I show a step-by-step process with using that machine as well. It turned out pretty good. Here it is here, the completed version. And I'll be doing a full video and a review on that a little bit later, but here's just a little teaser. Please make sure that you subscribe to our channel to follow any other future videos that we do as well. We're also on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you'd like to support our work, you can join us at Patreon and become a patron for as little as $1 a month and get your name listed in the credits for these videos. Again, we really appreciate all your support. Bring games to life.